All right, so now we're going to talk about slope of a line. This is part 2, and we learned a little bit about how that works. We're going to practice a little bit more, and then you'll have your first assignment on slope. Okay, so again, our learning target is to be able to find slope from a line. Okay, so remember a couple of things. Rise over run is really what we need to figure out. And when we're doing rise, remember rise is up and down. When we go up, that's positive direction. So if you count up, it should be positive. If you count down, you should have a negative sign in front of it. So if you go down 4 units, you want to write -4. Okay, and then rise over run. Run is side to side. If you go to the right, this is positive. And then if you count to the left, that's negative. These two things are kind of the things you want to keep in mind. Most people forget the negative sign when they count, and then they get it wrong. They got their numbers right, but they forget the negative sign, okay? Remember, slope is rise over run. And then the last thing that's super duper important is make sure it's simplified or reduced. That is a must, okay? That's why we spent a little bit of time talking about that. Okay, types of slope. You really have 4 different types of lines you're going to see. They're going to be positive. You'll figure out what your answer is there. You'll negative if it's going down as you go from left to right. If it's flat, then you should get 0. If it's up and down, undefined. Now you're not going to write positive or negative. You'll actually write the number. If it's horizontal line like this one, like this one right here, that's a horizontal line. You don't even have to do any counting there. You can just say, oh, the slope is 0. If it's straight up and down, then your slope is undefined. But these two, you'll have to figure out what that number is. Okay, so now let's practice a little bit more with how this works. So remember, rise over run, always make sure the rise is on top, and then always make sure you reduce your fraction. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so when you start, it does not matter which point you decide to start at. Doesn't matter. I always like to start on the one on the left, but it doesn't matter. But whatever you do is you have to go up or down first. So always rise first. So this way, to get, if I'm starting at this dot to get to this second dot, I need to go down to get here. Don't go this way. That's run first. You want to go down first. So this is down 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Now because I went down, remember that's -4. Okay. Don't forget that negative sign, so you get it right, okay? Now, then we're going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 units. There we go. And because we went to the right, that's positive. Okay, so rise over run. Rise. My rise was -4. I went down 4 units. Over my run, +4. Now, you, just like before, you want to always make sure your fraction is reduced. I need to check this, so I'm going to check -4 divided by 4. So I'm going to use my graphing calculator. And I got to open it up here. Okay. And I go in here and I go, all right, what is, now you probably already know this, but -4, make sure you use the negative sign down at the bottom there. -4 divided by 4. Press math. Hit enter a couple of times, and it says -1. So that's my simplified answer. That's what I want to write. So the slope of this line is -1. Okay? All right. Now let's try another one. All right, this middle one right here. Now, this, you might already know what the slope is. You could look here. Say, oh, that looks kind of familiar. It looks like this one, right? So the slope should be 0. Well, let's try it out. Okay. Now, let's say you didn't notice that. You say, all right, I got to go from here to here. If I start at this point here, Do I have to go up or down to get to this other point? No, I'm already on the same level. So my slope up on top is 0. Now, I do have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. I went to the right, that's positive. Now notice that's still not simplified. So then you go to your calculator. You're going to go 0 divided by 4. Math. Press enter a couple times. Notice you get 0. Okay, so that's what I've got. That's the answer you want to write for your slope, not this. That's not simplified. Again, if you just said, oh, that's a horizontal line, I noticed that right away, and you went up here and you said, ooh, that looks like that, then you wouldn't even have to do those steps. You wouldn't even have to count. That's just this right here, okay? I'm going to get rid of that one. All right, so now let's go back down here. Okay, same thing with this one. You might notice, oh, that's a straight up and down line, a vertical line. But let's pretend like, again, you didn't notice that. You'd say, all right, my slope, I'm going to start at this point right here, and then I'm going to go to this second one right here. My rise, I had to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. I went down 5, so that's -5. Now I'm already at that point. I'm already here. I don't need, already there, right? I don't need to move any further, so 0 units side to side. Now, we're going to go into our calculator, and we're going to go -5 divided by 0, math, enter, enter. Now notice it says error, divide by 0. You cannot divide by 0. That is an illegal move in math, okay? So this is where that's why up here it says undefined, okay? So when it's a straight up and down line, your answer is undefined. That's actually what we need to write. You're not going to write error here. You're going to write undefined. So all vertical lines have a slope of undefined. So you don't have to go through this counting process like I did here. And if you don't know, if you notice that it's a straight up and down line, you don't have to do that. You could just write undefined. And the same thing here. If you notice this is a flat line, you could just write, oh, that's 0. So that's quicker. But if you forget, then you can go this way. Just make sure always that you end up writing your final answer as simplified, okay? Otherwise, it will be incorrect. All right, that's it. So now what I'd like you to do is, in your assignment book, I'd like you to write slope of a line worksheet. That's for today. Put that into your planner so you've got it. You know what you need to do. Remember, your planner looks like this. If you've got a different planner that you're using, fine. But please go ahead and write that in there, and then go ahead into Schoology for today and open this up, import it into Notability, and get started. Good luck.